once they left Mississippi, they had no desire to return. Those in Chicago sent money back to retrieve the ones left behind, and over time, all the houses that either fled or died. The funeral home could do a thing. The little restaurant was almost full. In a spotless white apron, Claude worked the front while his sister handled the kitchen. Menus were not made. Daily specials were sometimes scrawled on a chalkboard, but for the most part, you ate whatever the sister was cooking. Claude served the food, directed the traffic, worked the cash register, created more gossip than he filtered, and in general ran the place with a heavy head. By the time Charlie and the ladies settled into their seats and ordered iced tea, Claude had heard that they were all related. He rolled his eyes at this. Wasn't everyone related to Letty these days? 15 minutes later, Jake and Lucian ambled in as if they had just been passing by. They were not. Portia had called Lucian 30 minutes earlier with the heads up. There was a decent chance Charlie could be a link to the past, to the mystery of the Rhines family, and she thought Lucian might want to meet him. Introductions were made. Then Claude set the two crackers off to themselves near the kitchen. Over grilled pork chops and mashed potatoes, Charlie continued to tout the dazzling benefits of the mortuary business in a city of 5 million, where the women were losing interest. He'd been married but was now divorced, 2 kids living with their mother. He'd gone to college. Slowly, the women extracted the details as they thoroughly enjoyed lunch. By the time the coconut cream pie arrived, the women were completely ignoring him and trashing a deacon who'd fled with another man's wife. Late in the afternoon, Portia arrived at Lucian's home for the first time. The weather had abruptly turned raw and windy, and the porch was out of the question. She was intrigued to meet Sally, a woman seldom seen around town, but well known nonetheless. Her living arrangement was a source of endless condemnation on both sides of the tracks, but it didn't seem to bother either Sally or Lucian. As Portia had learned quickly, nothing really bothered Lucian, at least nothing related to the thoughts and opinions of other people. He ranted about injustice or history or the problems of the world, but was happily oblivious to the observations of others. Sally was about 10 years older than Portia. She had not been raised in Clinton, and no one was quite certain where her people were from. Portia found her to be polite, gracious, and seemingly comfortable with another black female. Lucian had a fire going in his study, and Sally served them hot cocoa. Lucian spiked his with cognac, but Portia declined. The thought of adding alcohol to such a comfort beverage seemed almost bizarre, but then Portia had long since realized that Lucian had never seen a drink that could not be improved with a shot or two of booze. With Sally in the room and commenting occasionally, the Spinella updating the family tree, Portia had taken notes of things Charlie had said, important things like names and dates, and throwaways like deaths and disappearances of people who were not related to him. There were several strains of Rineses in the Chicago area, and another branch in Gary. Charlie had mentioned a distant cousin named Boaz who lives near Birmingham, but he had no contact information. He also had mentioned a cousin who had moved to Texas, and so on. Sitting by the fire in a fine old home, one with a history, and sipping hot cocoa made by someone else, and talking to such a noted rogue as Lucian Wilbanks, Portia at times couldn't believe herself. She wasn't equal. She had to constantly remind herself of this. But it was true, because Lucian treated her as one. There was an excellent chance they were wasting their time chasing the past. But what a fascinating search. Lucian was obsessed with the puzzle. He was convinced self-evidently did what he did for a reason. And the reason wasn't sex or companion. Portia had gently confronted her mother, and with all the trust and respect and love she could humanly muster, had asked her the big question. No, Letty had said, never. It was never considered, not in her part anyway. It was never discussed, never a possibility. Never. Randall Clark slid the envelope into a drop box outside the main post office in downtown Oxford. It was plain, white, legal-sized, no return info, and it was addressed to Fritz Pickering in Shreveport, Louisiana. Inside were 2 sheets of paper, a full copy of the will handwritten by Irene Pickering and signed by her on March 11, 1980. The other copy was locked away in Wade Lanier's law office. The original was in the file stolen from the Freeman law firm 2 blocks down the street. The plan was for Fritz Pickering to receive the anonymous letter, notice it postmarked in Oxford, open it, recognize the old will, and wonder who in the world had sent it to him. He would probably have a hunch, but he would never know for sure. It was late Saturday night. The college bars were rocking, and the police were more concerned with that activity than with the petty break-in of a small law office. With Clark in the alley watching things, Agent Odie entered the rear door, and within 5 minutes had returned the Pickering file to its proper and long-neglected resting place. Chapter 28. On Monday, February 20th, Judge Otley assembled the players for a progress report. Since it was not an official hearing of any variety, he locked the courtroom to keep reporters and spectators away. Most of the litigants were present. The Hubbards on one side, Letty and Fidra on the other. Still no sign of answer, though Judge Otley was not quite ready to declare him dead. He assumed the bench in his robe, managed a gruff, "Good morning," and called the roll of lawyers. All present. It was soon obvious the judge was not in a good mood and probably felt bad. In a tired voice he said, "Gentlemen, this matter is scheduled for a jury trial 6 weeks from today. I am monitoring discovery, and I see no reason why we can't be ready to go on as planned on April 3rd. Am I missing something here? Any reason to delay the trial?" Serious head shaking followed. "No, sir. No reason at all." As Jake had said, it was indeed a strange case in that every lawyer was eager for a trial. If anyone wanted to stall, it might be Jake. He had every reason to drag things along at $150 an hour, but he had Judge Otley breathing down his neck, too. The case officially known as In Re Escape of Henry Seth Hubbard was barreling down the docket at rapid speed. The judge continued, "Now, Mr. Bergance has copies of the first inventory for your perusal. As I have instructed in writing, this is to be kept as confidential as possible." Portia began handing over copies to the other side. "I have sealed this section of the court file because nothing good can come from the dissemination of this sensitive material. You, as the attorneys and your clients, have the right to know what's in the estate. So take a look." The lawyers snatched the copies of the inventory and flipped through the pages. Some had heard the alleged value, but they still wanted to see it in black and white. $24 million in change. It validated what they were doing, why they were fighting. The courtroom was deathly silent for a few minutes as it sank in. More money than any of them could ever hope to earn in a long career. Then there were some whispers and a chuckle over a wisecrack. Judge Otley said, "I addressed the contestants in reviewing the